Welcome back. Goodness gracious, we are happy you're here. My name is Jay Ryan. This is the Cars and Comedy Show. We are in the late night play set, and it just occurred to me that I'm wearing slippers. I don't know why. I've got to the brushing of the teeth and the other pre-show activities, but I am wearing slippers, and maybe we'll talk about that later. Also, if this is your first time joining us, it's been one hell of a winter. Here on the island, we have not today. This is the last day for this whole look, whatever's going on here, this unkempt thing. We did a beard for Santa Claus for the December, whatever. Here it is. Here it is. What do you think? Didn't touch it. And with that, then we decided no haircut, no trim anywhere else. So last day for this appearance. Sorry. Enough of that. We're going to be catching up with you this evening. Catching up with you. How were your holidays? A real bummer is that we lost Ken Block yesterday. We're going to be talking about that. Sorry to bring that down. But holidays. There were a lot of great things that happened over the holidays. We'll be talking about them, as well as this lady over here with the short haircut is here. You're on Instagram, and all the way up in Canada is this guy.
Greeting.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Mike Chisholm, host of the Letterman podcast. Our producer, Mike, all the way up there in Canada. I think that's what's going on. I've got coffee. I've got slippers. I've got coffee. I've got slippers. Yeah. Who could ask for anything more? Oh, gee. Well, we're in here now. Let's just do this. We're in here now. Hello. Am I forgetting anything? That's what we're doing. Oh, it's the kitchen sink. So we're just getting rid of stuff. We're getting literally everything that we were going to do last year, didn't have time to do. We're just going to get stuff out of the way. And I think that's about it. Yeah?
I believe so.
I don't have someone else to shave this here live on the show, and I don't think I could take doing it to Thursday, waiting till Thursday, but maybe if we get enough subscribers or badges or whatever, tips and whatever they do on, maybe we'll shave it live on the show. We'll see. Anyway, Will, take it away.
Kevin, you gonna buy a Beamer?
Wow, it's weird to be back in here. Hi, everybody. Hi to you.
Hi.
Make sure everything's working here. We got Canada on the line. What's up, Canada?
Man, I'm so happy to see you guys.
Oh, mutual, brother. Mutual. Forgive me running around still doing stuff. Backstory, you know how it is. I made this very complicated in here, and we have been not in here for a few weeks. And it seems like, if you just leave and come back, everything will be the same as it was. Not in the ones and zeros world. Everything changes. Everything goes to sleep. Everything gets outdated at different times and different speeds, etc., etc. Also, I should mention, I meant to bring it up top, and I didn't. But this shot over here, the opening camera shot, whatever that is brought to you by a new camera person. Thank you very much, Lauren. Thanks for joining the crew here. Lauren sponsored a new iPhone. That's Lauren Kennel. If you're paying along at home.
I love that family.
Lauren Kennel of the Auto Kennels. Whole family of kennels.
It's a good family.
Yeah. So it's probably Paul's old phone before it was given to Lauren, before it got to us. I think maybe it might have gone through one other person as well. Whatever. But we're happy to have it. So thanks. Other than that, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Welcome back. And I've been in the studio for two days, and I've not gotten everything. I need another 2 days. Not me changing stuff, just getting everything back to sort of the way it was.
There's a lot to do. No one seems to ever see all the pieces you have your hand in.
Yeah, and I thought about that. It's kind of our fault, right? Because that's my hang-up. Like, I never want people to see how the soup is made or whatever. I kind of just want to be like, here, enjoy the soup. I hope you like it. I hope you find it delicious.
Yeah. And it's how I do things from my old job.
Yeah, well,
so
me too. It. That's the thing. We were at a certain, but the world doesn't work that way anymore. They don't do it that way.
I refuse to believe it, but I think you're right.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I saw the side shot over here. There is some depth to this thing. It's not just whatever I see in the mirror. It's wow. Whatever they normally kind of cut back so that everything looks a good shape. Haven't done it yet. That's crazy. I think it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that part. Like, I knew who to pick to make things pretty, but I didn't know how that happened.
What? Oh, all the different.
Nitty-gritty face
Why?
stuff.
You had enough shit to worry about. How someone gets groomed is not your. Although that's not really true. You did know a lot because everyone had specific shit. People needed this type of towels. This person needed this type of razors or scissors or whatever the heck. Spray. Makeup is a big one. All those things. And you did actually, mentally, you always knew, like when we were with so-and-so, you were like, you got the fucking black towels, right? You know?
Yeah.
Somebody used to sweat a lot.
Yes, and everyone had the brands that they liked to use, and I had to pick the hair makeup people and know what to tell them to get and have. Oh, man, there was a lot.
I wish you could talk better for longer periods of time so that you could actually have your own podcast like was the original intention almost 5 years ago, because these stories, people would really like to have these stories, I'm sure. Your book would be so great. I mean, like if you need somebody else to help you write it, somebody else to just sit with you and patiently go through things.
It will happen, and I will be able to breathe easier again and talk longer. I'm confident and positive.
Way to 2023 it up.
Amen.
You know, 2022 ended rough. I don't need to tell anybody, but for you especially. Hope it's okay that we share a little bit. You know, I posted this. This is not even on the card to get into today. But do you mind if I talk about it, since you're being so
Go
open?
ahead.
And you know, whatever I posted the other day, it was Christmas night, and you were like mentally, completely, and physically, obviously, just like wiped out that night to the point where at 6 o'clock, at 6 p.m., what would be most people have just finished dinner at Christmas. you were crawling to bed and didn't even, make it. You're just kind of not passed out, but resting there for,
My arms stopped moving,
yeah.
so I laid down.
So I think a lot of people saw that, and because I posted it, whatever. We said we were going to just start doing more of that now. The thing I was most surprised at was the response from other people who were surprised that it was that bad, because I was like, even this, I kind of sugarcoat. You know what I mean? I didn't. You never say how bad it really is,
We were really good at our jobs, but no, I never say how bad that is.
Right. Well, me neither, but I guess that's the point, is that I think that it's very possible that people out there don't know how bad it is or how real all of this is. You do a great job of smiling, of being pleasant around people, of sharing the good that you have found throughout this process with other people. I feel like you're very good at all of those pieces. Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You used to get very frustrated when you felt like you were saying something so clearly, and then your recipient didn't land. And I feel like I'm living that existence now as well, where I feel like we tell people, no, it's really bad nowadays, and like you really don't know. And if you want to know, I'll tell you, but like I'm not just going to pour that on you because you don't need it. I guess that's what's going on. I guess it's a little bit of that. So the fact that you have such a positive outlook for 2023 and your future in general, despite everything I just said, how all that just ended, and still kind of continues. It's not like it went away. I think that you deserve applause for one. I think you deserve applause for one, but two, I think I don't know what I'm trying to say. I feel like, what are you laughing at? Go ahead.
I don't know what you're gonna say. I can't follow what you're thinking.
It's because I'm all over the place here. It started with when I posted that, I was surprised that other people were. So I mean, there were tons and tons of comments, but like I got so many private messages of like, "Oh, if you need anything," I'm like, "If we need anything, this is fucking Tuesday. It's Christmas night. This is as good as it gets." I'm like, I don't know what to say. I mean, like, sure, I greatly appreciate it, but I don't know. Thanks to, how about this? Let me spin that around and say thank you to everybody who did reach out in one way or the other to say something positive, whether it was a comment on the thing in support of you or a message to me.
That's really nice.
It's been a couple of weeks. We're rusty at this. Mike, you've been working and doing shows. Are you as rusty as me? You're probably not.
Kind of. Well, yeah. I mean, we had that post. Oh man, it hit a lot of people. People are talking about it in here, and where's the gal who says she identified? Boost Babe, totally identifies, and she talked about that. I think it's a she.
It is. And Boost Babe has multiple sclerosis as well, so she really does.
That's what she just said, that she can identify. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
it's funny. Normally Candy and I have a pretty busy holiday season. I wanted to wait 24 hours before I even replied to that, because it hit me so hard, that post from you guys. It was like, oh man. But the day after Christmas, my wife got salmonella poisoning, and so our entire holiday
Who cooked the turkey?
Today's her first day. She's eating today, and so we had a very quiet holiday season as well. So yeah, it was a different one for us as well. So we were very secluded, and we hibernated for 6 days.
You have such energy and drive and motivation, all the things that you're kind of going all the time. Are you able to? I mean, like, we had to learn how to like chill majorly because the world started moving so much slower than we were used to. It was a real adjustment for us. Are you able to do that? To like disengage and just truly chill for a couple days with her?
We watched the entire series of Grace and Frankie or Frankie and Grace, whichever it is. I still don't know which one it is now. But we watched
Jane
the entire
Fonda
series
and
of it.
right. How was it?
Yeah. We that's comfort food for her. So,
Oh,
I
good.
mean, for the first couple days, she couldn't even have the television on. She had to be in black. Like it was bleak. It was really, really awful.
She had the headache and all that.
I've never had salmonella before, but it was really bad. But then, so I can do that. If I have my phone with me and it's just silent in the room, I'll, send emails and make connections and do the things.
So
that I do.
new. But that's okay. That's what I expected.
I have a governor though. Like if I go hard for 10 days, my governor kicks in and I will be like, no, I'm watching old G.I. Joe cartoons for 36 hours.
I'm canceling my
like
plans.
that, and I will recharge. Oh yeah. I won't have plans. Yeah, I won't have plans at that point. Well, my governor kicks in. But yeah, I didn't. My governor hadn't kicked in. I was ready for like a busy holiday season. Nope, not this year. We didn't even have the granddaughter for 4 days, which is very, very rare for us.
Wow.
That was the longest we hadn't seen her in months. So anyway, but yeah.
Well, happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays to you guys.
And New Year. Happy New Year. Whatever. Happy everything.
Absolutely.
Can I tell you how delighted I am with the new cards? I just want to say it again. The new cards really are better.
I'm really
Dave was
glad.
right. Dave was right.
Where did you get them?
I'm not going to tell you. If you want some, I'll send them to you, but I'm going to be your source.
All right. That works.
I'm just kidding. I'll send you a link. A very easy source. The problem is, like so many things, it's not, it's how you ask for it. It's like finding our Mini. We found our Mini because it was mislisted, If our Mini was listed as a manual, it would have been more money and we wouldn't have gotten it. That type of thing. If you just search whatever the size is, blue index cards or whatever, you won't find these. I searched them for years. I got these until they were out of stock. But now we got these. And the funny thing is, the funny thing, it's not that funny. I don't even know why I'm presenting that way. The new cards match. I have a couple old cards from the old days, like actual cards, and the new cards match the color temperature. Versus, look at see how difference. Major difference.
Yep.
Anybody give a shit? Nope, just Mike.
I do.
Just Mike. Guarantee it's just Mike. And then in 1996, they changed the paint code to. What the fuck? It's ridiculous.
We've got an episode of the Letterman podcast coming out on Friday that I feel is going to be that. I'm going to be the only person in the world who cares about it. It's a guy by the name of David Kay, who is in charge of the audience for Late Show and tickets and all of that. And
you told me about this guy before.
Yeah, we go deep into a subject that I don't know if anybody is going to care about.
That show had you wouldn't know this being on your side, always being personally escorted in the stage door to the green room or your whatever, the elevator to go to your dressing room. We forget to mention that a lot, that she used to have people on Letterman all the time. Like she would go to that show, with talent. To be on the show, they would coax her as, hey, Nicole, it'd be really nice if we could have so-and-so on the show, phone call after phone call after phone call. Why the hell was I taking that? Why the hell was I saying that? Oh, yeah. So what you wouldn't know from coming in that perspective is that all of the rest of the fan side, the Americans who wanted, and whatever, all the tourists and all the people who really wanted to go see the show, it was an extremely unique. Would you call it well, you talked to the guy. Would you call it like a qualification process almost? You had to prove you were a fan.
A vetting process. They had a system in place. They categorized potential audience members into 3 categories, A, B, and C. They wanted to make sure they were dispersed properly throughout the week of shows. They wanted to have consistency, basically, and a good audience. Like, it was really scientific what they did.
What was the delineation based on?
Fandom.
No
A
kidding.
was like A was like super fans, and then
Oh my
also
gosh.
like extroverts, because you could still be a super fan, but if you're not extroverted, then that doesn't necessarily make you the best audience member.
If you're going to sit
B
there and just take
was
it all in without doing all the stuff they need you to do, like you have to actively
Yeah.
participate.
yeah.
Right.
His
You
example
have to
was
be a game
if
show.
you find something,
If I may, in the
Yeah.
early days, before this guy that he's talking about worked there, most of the staff, certainly the producerial staff, came from game shows.
Right.
So that's why there's so much old
Right.
game show shit, and the way the doors open and close on the old set, and the way the music would come on, and just the bubbles, just all the different ways they did things, the way things were presented, the way the announcer did, all those different things. It was all very kind of game show. What are they here to win? Let's rile them up. Let's get them to be part of this whole thing, which is not what you normally get when you go to a TV taping. It's, hey, here's a Snickers. Everybody like everybody. Who's your favorite character? You know.
I could use a Snickers right now.
No, go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying I could use a Snickers right now. I was just making.
Well, Snickers satisfies you. They're
That's
not a
right.
sponsor though. I'm
But we
gonna
go
throw
deep.
some comments up while you're doing this.
Sure.
But please
Boost
continue
Babe says
on
goodbye,
about this
by
guy.
the way. She has to
Say
go
it-
cook dinner, so Boost Babe says goodbye.
Oh, okay. Love you. Happy New Year, Tony Fishman. Go ahead.
So anyway, we go deep. I edited the podcast, and it's still 90 minutes. We go really, really deep on everything. He was part of a company, and it's escaping me now, called Audience Nation, Audience something, that was in Burbank for a long time, and he came in '98 on a 2-week contract.
Audience is
to work with
Unlimited.
Late Show. That's it. That's the one.
They're the ones who did the Tonight Show and everything else here in the Valley. Probably
There you
a lot
go.
of Los Angeles, but
Yeah.
whenever there was a kiosk up, it's probably still there, or maybe you would know different. But up at Universal,
Universal?
City Walk with the little, hey, come see a TV taping, that kind of thing. It was Audiences Unlimited.
And then they'd throw everybody on a bus. Yeah, he talked about that. They brought him in for a 2-week contract to consult, and then he didn't leave. That was in '98, and he didn't leave until 2015.
Jeez, as a consultant the whole time, or did they ever bring him on staff?
Oh, no. He was the head. He headed an entire department. When he came in as a consultant,
been a good
basically,
Decades of consulting work, that would have been sweet.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think he had a staff of 8 full-timers, and then in charge of the audience coordinators, or the pages that would indoctrinate basically the audience as you came into the show.
So it was still now. What year did you say he started?
98.
So it would have been after Jay Ryan was a fake intern there, because I was going to go. There was none of that then, because we were stuffing envelopes, talking to people. It was not like that. There was a postcard thing. It was like maybe they called in, or they sent in a letter, but then we sent them a postcard, and then they had to send that back. It was like a whole thing.
Yeah,
That's what it was. It was a postcard with like a phone number on it or something like that, and then
He
they
talked
would
about
call
that.
back.
Yeah, he talked about what he inherited, and I've actually got a letter from. He doesn't want to tell me who it's from, but it's one of the executive producer level staff members who wrote a letter of recommendation for him afterwards, and it talked about where they were before he showed up and where they were after he showed up, and what you described is very, very accurate. It needed some hand holding, and he came in and developed an entire system that evolved over the 16, 17 years, or however long it was that he was there.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's an unpopular opinion, so I'm going to say it as often as I possibly can. The Ed Sullivan Theater is not a good place to do a television show. Not this type of television show, anyway. Not the way everyone's trying to do it, with incorporating the theater and the audience and the whole thing. It's just not. It doesn't work. As much as everybody wants it to, it doesn't work. If you want to use it that way, you have to go back to like the way Ed Sullivan and Jackie Gleason and them used to use it, where you didn't. It was just a production space. It was literally just floor space. You can't have it be a perfect setting with the fucking dome and all that gorgeous shit. It's hard to describe unless you've been there. You said you've been to a couple tapings at the theater, right? But it would have been later during this guy's time. I don't know. It was just always
and then
very
we went
separated.
and saw the Colbert setup too.
I think Mark Malkoff talked about this a bit here and certainly on his podcast, but the separation of the balcony and the bottom was something, and then nothing was at the right level. Dave was either too high or too. It just kind of. So if somebody somehow made all those people enjoy that experience more, then they really did do something. Fucking shut up! I'm so sorry.
I think, as you know, we can go deep on this subject. I think where Dave and company, like Stephen Colbert, has significantly changed the space and made it a little bit more friendly for the audience. But back then, it was Paul. To me,
can I tell you what the real problem is?
Band. What's that?
It's the physicality of the space. When they changed it for television, they changed it for the type of television Ed Sullivan was doing, not the type of television they're doing now. If they want to change it back that way, they have to push everything away backstage about 15 feet and put about 5 or 6 rows of seats back into the front, which used to be there when the Hammerstein was built. I am Don Giller when it comes to the physical space of anything Letterman, right? All the props, all the physical space of 6A or the Ed Sullivan Theater. I am the guy.
Yes, you are.
I can't believe I'm doing all this. If you look at the stage of the Ed Sullivan Theater today, if you look behind Anton's drums when he was over there, or nowadays you'd have to look to the other side, but there are literally the doors in the audience, the exit doors along the sides of the theater, they literally keep going, and there's one that you only see half of because the stage covers half of it, right? So all of that used to be room for the audience to then become an audience together. Do you know what I'm saying? The physical space?
Yeah, I do.
Nobody gives a shit. This is like me in the Ecto One light bar. I'm like, oh, that front's 6 inches too big. But with all of that, if you want to do that type of showy show in there, you got to make it the showy showroom again. Over.
And that's what Jay thinks.
I'm sorry.
It is a better space for that with Colbert. They've done significant changes in there since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, they've made it worse. What I'm talking about, they made it worse. Because
oh, really?
For my personal impression, yes, Dave and company, Hal, really, they shrunk down the amount of space. Do you know how much unusable goddamn airspace there is in the Ed Sullivan Theater? Bajillions of square cubic feet of unusable space. So they shrunk it down to like, oh, we're going to live in this area. The Colbert people came in and they're like, oh, let's knock everything down. Open environment and whatever.
Tiny.
So now it's this huge thing, and now the audience is kind of just suspended, hanging in the middle of this huge thing. And I'm not, this is me being wicked particular. Here I am in my dining room, okay? That's where we are.
It's an excellent use of space. I've been there.
I'm aware of the glass house situation going on here. But fundamentally, I come from a Kathleen Anchor school of thought, and that is not how things are being done these days. The Colbert set and all of that stuff was done by the architectural firm that redid the building and the offices, not to take away what they did on the set. I think it's beautiful too, but it's not a set. It's not scenic. It's not. It's not done theatrically in the way that you would for television.
Right.
It's done how you would if you wanted to do your mid-century modern house with a bunch of LED lighting.
And screens.
So many screens. That whole crew has cancer, right? Already, just from all the screens. 5 years, 7 years, however long it's been. There's way too many screens. And they're huge. The screens are fucking 30 feet tall because that space is bigger than it seems. Yeah. Anyway. Man, here we go. 2023. It's this beard. I've got this. There's a bit of Dave's beard made him happy. Mine's making me like, it's a burden. All right, back to this. So somebody here, Jared Fadley, says, can't wait to pre-order the book.
Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, Jared. Tony Roger, I want to send you an orange microphone for Nicole for MS Awareness this March. Yes, please, and we'll put it on the prize wheel, or we'll auction it. We'll talk about that. I really thought we would. That's it. So last time we were here, we thought we would be back for New Year's Day to do the telethon over the weekend, and then whatever. Everything I said before. Everything is harder. Everything takes longer than it used to. I don't want to. I wouldn't give my troubles to a monkey. Oh my God. All right, Mitch David Carter, hello. We just got in the room. Hello. La, la, la. Mitch David Carter and his wife, Randy, baby. His wife, Randy, loves Seinfeld, so that was for them. Hello. La, la, la.
Ha ha ha. La la la. That was it.
And isn't the girl doesn't like it, and then it's either breakup. It's either you can have the voice or me, not both, right?
Yeah.
And he chooses the voice at the end. I think it might have been the girl who went to jail for getting her kid in school from Uncle Jesse's
Lori?
wife, wasn't it? I think it might have been.
Oh, I forget.
You know, you have a very impressive knowledge of the women of Steinfeld.
We've had a lot of them on the
Because
show.
Jerry had a lot of girlfriends. Yeah,
But we've
well, I
had a
know.
lot of them
There's
here on
that
the show,
too.
so I had to do the research. We've had a lot of them here on the show.
Yeah.
Like other than the real, like Denise Richards or something like that. Like the comedians we've had. I think most of them. Kathy Ladman, Jan Karam, who's been here. I don't know. On and
A
on.
lot.
Also, Rain Man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's impressive.
How about a burn baby? Eric Schmidt says, "What's up, playset? Good to see you." Sweet shirt Jay says, "Avance, right on." Here we are showing our support. Love you guys. Thanks for everything. That's it. But whenever I get a new Avance thing in the mail, I always open it on the show so everybody sees it. And Mitch David Carter says belly button. Oh. It's not related to the shirt conversation, is it? Kind of a coincidence, though.
No, that's hello. It was the echo
Oh,
of the hello.
blah, blah, blah. I see.
La la la. Yeah.
Belly button means hello?
No, that's what he was talking about. The echo of was it the echo of her belly button? Isn't that where the voice came from?
Oh, my God. I think you're right. See, I forgot about that. I just
Yeah.
remember them getting in the fight because she doesn't like it. No.
Yeah, at the end.
Is
But
it?
they're doing the voice the entire time because they're talking about something about her belly button, I thought.
So that
It was
must
like
be.
an
Yeah,
echo.
so I mean, you're obviously right. You're obviously right. I didn't remember that part, though. Because all I remember is that everybody is doing the voice then. And then they're all bummed when they're like, we're not doing it? We can't do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they got it back because they broke up.
Well, I have to pee because I didn't get that out of the way before the show. I mentioned the slippers, right? I'm still wearing slippers.
Nicole and I can stall. We can.
They're house shoe slippers. Yeah, would you please, actually? Because I'd love it if you
course.
talk to her.
Okay, so Nicole, did you ever do like riders for people? Like, okay, you got the towels and all this sort of stuff or whatever. But did you actually like do like riders for some of these people? Like, if there's a green room,
Create them or make sure they were enforced.
both.
I didn't make it.
Sorry, I'm listening.
I didn't make anything.
Okay.
She sure made sure they were enforced, though. I mean, like it wasn't even funny.
Were there any interesting requests? You don't have to out anybody if you don't want to, but if there was, or if you want to, go ahead. But was there any interesting, like Van Halen talks about the different colored M&Ms, that kind of thing. Were there anything like that?
I was at a junket once and saw not a client of mine, but of the company, like had made a maid of the hotel take all the flowers out because they were the wrong color.
Really?
Yeah,
So it wasn't even an allergy thing. It was the wrong aesthetic.
correct.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I once read somewhere, I forget where, that certain acts or entertainers would put certain things in the riders of their contracts just simply to make sure that the venue or the promoter or whoever it was read through the contract. And
Yeah.
that was really the reason behind them.
Yeah,
that
we've
true?
talked about that too. Like it checks and balances, like who's paying attention.
That story is true based on our friends, at least in the rock and roll industry, who said when we asked him, what's the deal with the green M&M, blah blah blah. Like, well, you know why why that is, right? I think somebody made a joke because nobody does really know the backstory, and he goes, well, when you've got blah 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 blah, semis full of equipment, semi-tractor trailers full of equipment that's getting set up every day in a different city. It's like a carnival, right? It's like it's just one of those things. It's just there are so many moving parts. It's easy for a bajillion of them to get missed. And he said if the M&Ms were green, it meant our equipment was safe.
Yep.
There you go.
It meant like they read the shit, they did the things, they went through the line items.
You get a feeling of who's paying attention when certain things are attended to.
Yeah. The green M&Ms became a joke over the years, over time, but apparently it was anything that was really weird and arbitrary like that.
A lot of things start that way. That colored flower thing started that way too.
Can I throw the other side of this, though, that happens and that I have seen, I've experienced and I've seen you experience? You mentioned sometimes you've heard, people, have this long list of whatever the heck. And then sometimes those people show up and they've never heard of this list or any of these requirements because that's not even their favorite water or whatever, because everybody down the line wants to fucking get their little hand in the mix somehow. Everybody's a cook, you know what I mean? So they go, well, make sure it's Avion, whatever. And then somehow that becomes, and then it needs to be Avion water and blah, blah, blah. And that person, he's like, I fucking hate Avion water. I anything but Avion water, That's a silly one, but sometimes it's bigger things than that. Like I'll only stay in this room or I'll only have this certain whatever it happens to be. And a lot of times it's not even that person's favorite. I bet Kim Kardashian probably has a goddamn whole list of like, I'll only have this and whatever. But all your comedy people, they used to get some of that treatment too. And I don't remember anybody ever giving a shit.
This is a good reminder to everyone to pay attention to what you're told versus doing what you think someone wants.
Jerry, would you like a mid-size?
Things like that happen all the time because so-and-so has to deal with so-and-so at whatever company. And
that's what it is too. You're right. They're behind the scenes handshake deals.
And the client doesn't care or want any of that nonsense.
I didn't even think about that because they want them to be seen drinking a vitamin water or whatever it happens to be. Oh my God.
That happens all the time.
And then they say like, it was in your rider. And then they're like, that's bullshit. Oh my God.
I got accosted by photographers outside waiting for cars for people to come downstairs to get that photo.
Oh, I even know where you're talking about then because I remember that night. That was a hell of a night for a lot of reasons. But I'm sure you saw that 1,000 times in your career. Yeah. Belly button. Man, he was right about belly button. It's funny. It now shows this must be Facebook, but it now shows the likes. We have 2 likes from Facebook. We have 4 loves. And then we have no angries, no sads, no wows. I'm telling you.
Why would anybody get angry?
I have been in and around. We can make some people angry. You want to make some people angry? We'll turn it up a little bit. Why not? It's our show. Whatever you want to do. I've been in this room for like 2 days doing all this stuff, but none of it has been sitting here, you know what I mean, using any of it. Ugh, shut up already. God, what a whiner. We need a pre-show.
Do you want to talk about Ken Block?
Yeah. May as well save it to the end.
I got a bum 24-year-old in my life right now.
Oh my gosh, really? I bet. Yeah, because he's
Oh man, all through
all
high
into
school,
car videos.
it was him coming to me with his first cell phone with YouTube, showing me Ken Block videos. Like his entire teenage existence was seeing Ken Block drift videos. Hey Mike, come look at this. Hey Mike, come look at that.
Oh
My
man.
kid loves Ken Block.
Well, he was a neat dude, right? And he was sort of different because he didn't take things too seriously. He put everything on the line, but he was also sort of half like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seems like
Yeah,
it.
totally.
I met him at Hoonigan when Hoonigan was in Long Beach. When I was still working in like the field, I was still making money. I was up to produce the Gymkhana series, the Amazon series that went along with the Gymkhana. I think it was 10. I think it was the 10th anniversary, but the one that from the picture that I posted where he climbed Pikes Peak. Did a bunch of stuff, but one episode was Pikes Peak. I didn't. It was one of those things where it was really, really close. Like it was a bunch of interviews with a bunch of different people, and I had the job. I was told I had the job, and whatever. And then at the last minute, for whatever reason, I didn't get it, and I was always a little bit bummed about it, especially when I saw. I was always a little bit bummed about it, especially when I talked to Zwart about, oh, it was a great show and the whole thing. Then I saw that damn show that they fucking made, and I was so grateful that I did not get put on that show because the close calls, the things that went wrong, the amount of whatever, it would have been a very, very hard task. Anyway, while all of that process was going on, I met Scotto and Ken Block, and they both were just awesome dudes who were so grateful to be where they were that they didn't give a fuck. And to me, that is a compliment. I'm saying that complimentary. They really, some people when they're successful, it goes one way. These guys were the other. They like stayed themselves. And I now, given, I always thought I'd get another chance to work with him, either for Hoonigan or somewhere else. And now I'm superbly bummed that I didn't get to. And I just want to say to all the friends we have at Hoonigan, so sorry for your loss. My goodness, there aren't words. And you guys are obviously dealing with it, and everybody's just as shocked. So his family, friends, it's just crazy. We weren't close with Ken Block, but we're only 1 degree removed from a bajillion people that are very close with him.
A
Jeff
ton
Swart
of
included.
people from my old life, like journalists and writers, knew of him.
Because he transcended. It was like he tied all of the different motorsports together, and then somehow, sort of like Magnus. Like Magnus isn't just a car guy. You can read Forbes and you'll find out about Magnus, or GQ. He did that article in GQ.
Yeah.
Same thing with Ken Block. Oh, and the DC Shoes thing too. He was DC Shoes before Hoonigan.
Yeah, I read about that too. Crazy.
I mean, Hoonigan was the fun way to have a fun fuck off business while we collect the shoe money, and then they turned that into a huge thing too. Oh man, it's a bummer. I don't know. I will say I'm glad that he didn't go out doing one of his car stunts. And I'm more glad. Totally. That's for us. I don't think Ken Block, the character, would have cared. He would have been like, I fucking flew off the mountain and I loved every minute of it. But I will say that I love even more that he did go out seemingly doing something that he also enjoyed doing. Like he was out there doing a motorsport, living it up. If whatever happened, he was cranking it to the fullest, which is very Ken Block. And if it went off, he let off and it oversteered and he accidentally tipped it. Hammer down, baby. Hammer down all the way. Live it while you got it.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Ken Block.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about Robert Walters?
Good God, that one. Yeah, you're a good host, man. You're a good host. That one is on the card, but that one hit me hard.
Me too. Very much so.
Did you guys know it was coming? Like, I know she's not young, but like, was it a
93.
thing?
I had an inkling.
But
like Betty White. It was like Betty White. Like I thought she was healthy.
Right.
I didn't think she was working anymore. She left The View few
Yeah.
years ago, 5 years ago, maybe more.
I knew that, but
But
I
would still
didn't
come
know
on every
it
once in a
was
while.
progressed.
What progressed? I mean, how did she die? What was it? I thought she was just old. Was it a cancer or a dementia? Or
No,
something?
I didn't know anything had progressed. Sorry, I got distracted. I heard something, but I didn't. I knew the end
Was
of
it
the
this?
view. No, but that's
this?
no.
Is it this?
No, I'm done now.
You guys know how I like to, the way I think, that I always just I think lily pads. I go to this, to this, to this. I've been talking to Brian Tetta, who worked for Letterman for years, but he's the EP on The View. I had every intention of saying, hey, any chance that we can get Barbara to appear on the Letterman podcast? Like, I was thinking that a week before she passed. Like,
She was one of my
I
favorite.
had no idea.
She was one of my favorite guests on Letterman. She was so great,
Yes.
and he was so great with her because he both adored her so much. And I think Dave still saw the young, hot Barbara, the young, hot. I got my cleavage out, and I'm gonna fucking do whatever I need to give you what you need, so I can get this fucking job and get it done. Yep. I think he still saw that, that young, sexy Barbara, not the 80-year-old something that we all saw. And because of that dynamic, it was just, there was this adorable. What did LaSalle used to talk about, how the sexual chemistry is very, very important with talk show guests and the host, and good, bad, or otherwise. He just said that was a good thing. I felt like they had that. Whatever he had with.
I feel like he responds to spunk because he has it in him too.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's
Yep.
true.
Well,
And
it's the
she's
same thing with
very
Julia
spunky.
Roberts. Like, you haven't
People
seen her
that
before.
I worked with that didn't have it, no one was interested in booking them. So you had to bring something to the table.
Yeah, and if you're just going to go by the script, he can see that too, and he'll poke holes in it. And she was a broadcast. You know what? Broadcaster. She's a broadcaster.
Yep.
makes
She had his respect. I mean, not that she
sense.
wouldn't anyway, but she was also a genuinely good broadcaster.
Yeah.
It's weird because right before the holiday, we were talking. You brought it up. We were talking about my next guest, and I had said a few times lately those what do you call it? The sequestered shows. What do you call? Why were we just in the house because of COVID? What do you, the quarantine shows or whatever? It's still not right. What do you call it? Pandemic shows? Whatever.
Pandemic shows?
The later Letterman shows that didn't have the audience and everything, I said he's
yeah.
the next Barbara Walters. I said he's the next
Yep.
Barbara Walters. He's doing the job as good as I've seen anybody do it, but maybe Barbara Walters.
You told
Including
me that.
making them cry.
that's Roy Firestone too. Don't make me cry, Roy. And then when Roy was here, I think we got him to cry, didn't we?
I
Pretty
think
sure.
so.
Yeah. Ugh. Oh man, Barbara. You? I'm assuming probably never got to meet Barbara up in Canada.
No.
Did you ever in your travels?
No.
She used to be a guest on Conan, and I met her there.
Really?
And like I say, just all of those Letterman appearances, I feel like we got the real Barbara, because that was the real Barbara that I saw in the hallway. She's shorter than I thought, by the way. I'll say
She's
I'll say
teeny
that.
tiny.
Barbara Walters was very, very short.
Really?
Yeah, like Dr. Ruth Short. She used to come on the show a lot too. Yeah, back in the Conan days. She was
That's-
taller than Dr. Ruth, but not by much.
That's telling though, because that says how tall Hugh Downs might be.
I don't think he was tall either. But they're on stools at the desk.
That's what I mean. Like it gives perspective when we didn't have any.
Sherry O'Terry played her, and Sherry O'Terry's itty bitty.
Playing people is different than being tiny.
You're right.
But yeah.
You're right. Just everything I got. She was also there during those times because she was a new cast member when I was when I was there. So she was whatever.
Yeah,
You're right. It was
I
random.
love-
To me, the memories all flow together. I'm going to turn Mike up so I can stop stepping on him. Sorry, buddy.
I love how much the rapport with her and Dave. Like, I remember when Dave had his trouble with the blackmail stuff, and the next day,
Oh, Jesus.
she just leapt to his defense. And I just appreciated the camaraderie that they had with each other, the support they had with each other. She was on Dave's very last show in Dave's very last top 10 with all those celebrities. She was
Oh,
one of
you're
them.
right. You're right. I forgot about that.
They just had, this dynamic between them, and I think part of it is a respect of broadcasters that Dave had.
Yeah.
But even going back
Whatever
to that very
Dave had
first-
for Regis, he had it for Barbara.
totally.
Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I totally think so. And I mean, he had it for, Katie Couric and Brian Williams and these other people too, but you could just tell she had this special place in his heart. And it might be the years and years, because I mean, she was a very early guest on.
I told you what
Late
I think
Night.
it is.
Yeah, well,
No. Do you think
The
there's anything
chemistry
to
thing?
that? Do you think there's anything to that? That he still saw the young, sexy Barbara that, like the picture I posted was
100%.
was the Barbara that, like, when I saw, like 20 years ago, when my dad was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then I looked up a picture in a Newsweek or something like that of an old Barbara Walters. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was the same person. And then once I saw it, of course, I saw that as well. I don't know.
I saw a lot of sexy photos of her that I hadn't seen before, so I get how jarring that must have been.
I think she had every weapon and was willing to use every weapon necessary for her to kick down that door, because it was a massive, massive door to kick down. And for some people, it was like, okay, yeah, we're going to add some, whatever you want to call it, some sexiness or some sex appeal to this. That's how the woman's going to get the job. And she's like, whatever. But she is a world-class broadcaster willing to use anything necessary to get to that place.
Yeah, I agree. She had to back then.
Yep.
I don't agree with why. It's hilarious. The morning show was on in the background earlier when I was setting stuff up in here, and obviously that rings true. Yeah, different time. But if you read up on some of the stuff she had to go through with some of her co-hosts and just in general, stuff that she both tolerated and fought against. Fascinating woman who really paid her goddamn dues and paved the way for many to follow.
Yeah.
And was damn good at her job. Damn good at her job.
That's
and I found her very likable.
Being good is always the through line. Like, you can be okay, but not make it.
I found her very likable because while she didn't always agree, didn't maybe even often agree, especially on that View show, I liked how she didn't agree. She didn't agree, or she disagreed. Let's get back to the positive. She disagreed very adult-like, very eloquently, very understandingly, very willing to listen, but here's why I don't agree. I hate to say educated. It may be as simple
Common
as
sense.
that. Say it again?
Common sense. She came back to a
but
place
I mean
of
more her
common
affect.
sense.
I mean the way she. Maybe it's supposed to be common sense, and I don't look at it that way anymore because it's not anymore.
It feels to me like she's still professional. And
Very
she's
much.
seeing a lot of things fall down that path of not being as upkept. And she's like, I'll maintain my professionalism as long as I need to.
Yeah, great lady. I liked her a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
As
when I
Kevin
was at
Smith would say, big bucket of win.
when I was at 30 Rock back in the day, and this is very quick, they downstairs opposite Hurley. It's where it doesn't matter, but whatever. In the bottom of 30 Rock, there are two restaurant quarters. One was Hurley's for years. I don't know what it is now. And then one for a very short amount of time when I was there, they named Television City or TV City, whatever. Television City. And it was basically they were capitalizing on the NBC tour and the NBC stuff upstairs. They made a theme this is the 90s. Midtown Manhattan is ripe with theme restaurants, right? It's not just
Everywhere.
Hard Rock and Planet Hollywood. They paved the way for Hard Rock and for Harley Davidson and Fashion Cafe and Mars 2112, which was real. All that shit. Fashion Cafe. What the hell? So there's this. So they basically they make it a TV studio, right? It's just like this in here with all the lights hanging down and everything. It looked like a Warner Brothers store, except you ate there. And this guy, they had a talk show set in the middle of the whole thing that they would have a professional guy who worked there at the place. Imagine dueling pianos. Like, oh, there's the piano player who works here, except he's a talk show host, and he walks around table to table talking to people, and then he pulls people one by one in the meal, and then you go sit on the couch and you talk to him at the desk and the whole thing. It's awful at our age. Now imagine you're a 20-something-year-old kid who's like obsessed with the genre and the whole thing, and you can't get into the actual building, but here you can go have a really expensive hamburger. Anyway, all this to say, that host we ended up becoming friends with because Danbury Chive and I used to go to this place all the time. His name was Christian. And Christian one day was very excited because he had done a audition, and it went really well. And if he got the job, he was going to leave Television City. And we were like, holy shit, this must be cool. You're going to leave your little fake talk show in a restaurant job? He got the gig, and he got the job, and he ended up taking it and doing it. He was the first warm-up guy for The View. The View was a brand new show. He was describing it to us. He's like, well, it's going to be a talk show with Barbara Walters. And I was like, Barbara Walters is going to host a talk show? I'm like, what is she going to do with her specials? It's the whole thing. He's like, no, it's a lot of people. It's opinions. And he got the gig, and that was 1997, something like that.
Whoa.
I mean, it's whenever I was, maybe 96? Whatever.
I forgot.
Television City did not last long, by the way. It was always empty. I don't know. I just think it was a gimmick that didn't work. But meanwhile, now they have the NBC experience, and the whole thing of that is go see all these sets, and then we're going to put you on a fake talk show, and then you get to do your fake talk show. So to me, it's the same exact thing.
It sounds it.
Went to the Apple store the other day because I noticed. Here's an anecdote for everybody. I noticed that my when I was doing videos, the camera wouldn't work. Like you could hear me talking on this side, but you couldn't hear the car on that side or whatever. Not the camera, the microphone on this side didn't work while using the camera. And ones and zeros, did all the updates and refreshes and blah, 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 blah. Nothing. I got the whatever. Got my little brush out and I whatever, make sure. And I went to the, it didn't work. Nothing worked. And I went to the Apple store, made an appointment, Genius Bar. And they were very nice. Immediate appointment. Took me right away. Like, no waiting. And he started testing the device. They don't have a Genius Bar anymore. You just kind of sit on some bean bags with with your Genius and just kind of hang out. So I'm hanging with my Genius. And he's flipping it around. Can you take the case off? Yeah, sure. It's an Apple case, of course. It's always been on it. But here, we go take it off. He's looking at it, making sure it hasn't been dropped or anything. He goes, I'm going to take it back. I go, oh, shit. All right. I'm going to take it back. So he takes it back. And now here I am sitting on my beanbag holding my case. I am fidgety because I feel like I have my phone, but I, of course, do not have my phone, so I can't do any of that. And he comes back and he goes, well, there was a little bit of debris in here and in here and whatever, so I just cleaned it out for you. And it doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it. Everything checks out fine. And he gave it back to me, and I go, really? And very, very embarrassed. Very embarrassed. Because, like, I'm usually the guy who goes through all that shit, so just to not waste my own time, let alone their time.
Yeah.
It seems fine now. And I guess the point to this story is, I mean, like, we have so many Apple products here. We used to buy so many. We used to own a company which was completely run on Apple products. So we used to have that company fucking account where we got 10% off and shit. Now, I'm the old guy at the Apple store. Legitimately the old guy at the Apple store. I'm the guy who came in and said, hey, my phone isn't working. And I go, well, we cleaned it for you, sir. Try it now. Oh, it's much better. Thank you very much.
You're that guy.
I apologized to him for wasting his time. I told him how embarrassed I was and how I told him everything I just told you. All he wants is for me to leave the store. And I can't, in good conscience, without telling him how in the old days I wouldn't have done this. I can't explain
And that
it.
just makes it worse.
He said there was a little bit of debris back here, and I go, but that one works fine. That one works great. It's this one that doesn't work. He goes, yeah, but sometimes. And I was like, all right. This didn't help, by the way. None of this helped anything. He was probably like, no charge, sir. Didn't want me to get my AARP card. Oh, my God. Is that the right one? Sometimes I screw those up. There's one.
For old people?
A lot of these terms are outdated, right? Because there's one that's for retarded people. The RP is retarded people. There's what, like NAACP, colored people is the CP. Okay, outdated in the terms. Can't believe I brought that up. But these are things that have always bothered me. Also, triple should have 2 Ps, but it doesn't. I can see Mike thinking about that. Triple, 1 P.
Well, I think about
should have 2.
butterscotch ripple ice cream, which of course has 2 Ps. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Anyway. Old man at the Apple store. It's embarrassing. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to not be able to fix my own problem. And then to have to go in there. I was like, well, this has never happened before. I went through that. I go, I've had every iPhone since the first generation in 2007 when Steve Jobs was up here with the thing going, and this has never happened. And he's like, well, it hasn't happened now. That was the result. We've been going to Malibu, everybody. Huge fans of Café de la Plage and the good vibes. Very nice people. Bernard and I assume it's his wife there. Very nice. And sitting there on Sunday with some friends. The missus included. And who rides up on a bicycle? Right next to us? Bill from Malibu Kitchen. Can't make this stuff up. Parks his bike, leans it up against the thing, walks into a store. What store? Café de la Plage. Hilarious. Don't know what he wanted. We didn't stay. It was hilarious. No, I mean, we stayed, but we were at the table. It's very funny to me. Somebody goes, there's Bill. And I thought, oh, that's hilarious. We were just talking about him because he sold his mixers, but supposedly he's going to open up someplace else, blah, blah, blah. There he is. And then I made the comment. I said, well, good for him. It says he's exercising, right? Good for him. Electric bike. Yeah, it was an electric bike. Still takes something, though. You're still up there, right?
You're so nice.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. I'm missing some stuff here.
Are we at the place where we talk about
Nicole, Jay, Mike,
Hey.
love you all. Autoconnell, we talked about Lauren, our new camera person. She's on camera 6 over there. Thank you to Lauren.
Does that make her Lauren on camera 6?
Yeah, Lauren on 6.
Okay. Awesome.
Anna K. Wong, greetings from Hong Kong. You made it.
Nice.
Wow.
Thanks so much for coming to Breakfast Club. I think was her last thing before she left for Hong Kong. She was leaving later that day, I believe.
She told me all about it.
Irene
So
Hoffman,
cool.
again, thank you for your sponsorship before the holidays. I saw B&W on the last She Was Sassy. I saw
Barbara
Betty
Walters on the
White
last Late Show.
Barbara Walters
Walters.
on the last.
Late Show. She Was Sassy.
There you go.
Agreed. Betty White and Barbara Walters. I used Betty White as a reference. BW. Dang. I like that we'll just keep the astrology going on in the background there. I kind of like it. One of the first shows I ever worked on in my life. I was a junior in high school before I even made it to NBC. It was called Off the Wall Astrology with Barbara Wall. Get it? I didn't name the show, but it was one of the 3 live shows we worked on at News 12. I met Barbara Walters once when she was getting out of her car in the valet at the Peninsula Hotel. She dropped, here, I got it here on the thing. She dropped something and I picked it up for her. She smiled at me and still had massive charisma. Awesome. Peninsula Hotel, very cool. Her father owned the Copacabana. She was worldly prior to getting her position. Classy.
Oh,
Now,
that's
you
cool.
know
I didn't know
what?
that.
I forgot about that, Irene Hoffman, and they talked about that on Dave too. I totally forgot about that. You're right. That's a cool thing, because that's like history.
It
Yeah.
could
New
be
York
a band
heritage.
that's just known about.
Yeah, well, Barry Manilow didn't hurt that either. But I think of what's the Goodfellas, right? We mentioned Goodfellas before
Yeah,
when they're walking in
totally.
the back door, that long tracking shot they talk about in Swingers. I think that's the Copa.
I think so, or meant to be an homage to it. Yeah.
Exactly. It's moved a couple times over the years. Like CBGBs, I don't think any of those in the actual original location.
Right.
Like Caroline's too, right? Like the Caroline's that's closing in New York right now isn't the original Caroline's, but it is, it is still historic nonetheless.
I don't know if you're right about that. You might be. I don't know though. In my mind, Caroline's Comedy Cellar was always Caroline's Comedy Cellar, but it doesn't mean that it was.
The Times Square one, I'm almost
That's the one I'm
positive
thinking of. The Times Square is the only one I ever went to. But there used to be other ones in
Okay.
Manhattan too for a short time. There was a downtown club, and I think maybe even a third one.
Yeah, that's probably true. But the Times Square one's the iconic one that many of us, think of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's not the original.
I don't believe it is. If I was to bet $5 Canadian, I'd bet $5 Canadian that wasn't the original. They moved there, and continued the heyday there.
Yeah,
I think in the '90s. I feel like in the '90s they moved there.
you're a good source for this, Mr. Canada Comedy Guy. Do you know anything about SCTV? Can I ask you a couple questions about SCTV? Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's the Hollywood location I'm interested in, but SCTV, of course, for years and years, legendary, opened up in the 50s or 49, something like that. I believe Toronto was the first location, correct?
I don't know if Chicago was the
or
first
Chicago
one.
was
Toronto was the
first.
second one.
I think Chicago might have been first.
Toronto was
Chicago, I
second.
think, was first.
And then Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should have been the third city, but whatever. Okay. I remembered in the 80s, and we should look this up properly because Ariel used to apparently do some stuff with Second City, and that's how this came up the other day at Cafe de la Plage. I remember in the 80s, Second City trying it out here and it not working for like 2 years. And I could be wrong about that. It could be a different troupe. But
In Los Angeles.
in Los Angeles, like West Side, like Santa Monica or West LA. I don't know if they had West LA back then. I think that's something that was kind of created when I moved here, like around that time.
I remember West Side too.
Well, you do, okay. And then that went away, and that was not here when I moved here. And then Ariel was talking the other day about doing Second City in this town, and I was like, well, that's not possible because it was so much longer ago. She goes, no, they just closed. They just closed after COVID or during COVID or whatever. And she said there was a Hollywood location that was there for, she made it sound like a bajillion years. Like she made it sound like almost like since forever. Do you know anything about that?
I don't. That's news. That's news to me.
It definitely closed.
I've
It definitely was one and it closed. I looked that up, but I didn't get any further as to when it opened or anything.
I mean, the Wikipedia, the Second City is an improvisational comedy enterprise and the oldest ongoing improvisational theater troupe to be continually based in Chicago, with training programs and live theaters in Toronto and Los Angeles.
Yeah, this is my point. Like everything is sort of generic press release. Like your people got a hold of it and they've squashed everything. Once they closed the Hollywood location, I couldn't find anything on it at all. There definitely was one. There was a grand reopening in 2010, which would make it about a 10-year-old thing. And that makes sense to me. Like, because we would have been sort of... Nobody else cares about this. I don't know why I'm talking about it. I was asking you because I thought you would know, and we genuinely wanted an answer. But
I know more about the television show that originated like in Canada and that stuff. Like
me too.
big
Every
fan of those
episode,
guys.
loved it.
Big fan of those guys. Yeah.
Who's
doesn't
your
surprise me at all.
favorite
Of
from
course
those
you do.
original guys? Who was your favorite?
I'm a big John Candy fan.
Of course.
I really like, John Candy.
Even though his work on that show was out there, out there.
Yeah. Yeah. John, but I mean, I love Bob and Doug McKenzie as well. Like
Yeah.
I loved them. Like Strange Brew. My friends and I, when we'd have sleepovers when we were kids, we would watch Strange Brew every time. Like I loved Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas. They were so good. But, I mean, Joe Flaherty was like,
That's
I
where
love
I
them
go.
all.
He's one of my favorites because
Flaherty?
he's often not mentioned, and I think he's the unsung hero in a lot of things where other people get the laugh. He's the setup.
He's very much, in my opinion, very similar to Eugene Levy. Like I
Same
find they
thing.
have
He's
similar
great straight
sensibilities.
man,
Yeah, really good similar sensibilities.
but doesn't always get the credit of the funny guy next to him. It's like Abbott and Costello. We're all watching
That's right.
Costello, but Abbott's the one who's making Costello funny.
Yes, could not agree more.
Good. Got to go Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy, of course, and Joe
Catherine,
Flaherty.
yeah.
But they're all great. Lorraine Newman was part of that, yeah? Or is that SNL? I get those
No, that's
confused.
SNL.
Shit. Andrea Martin.
Andrea Martin. Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, like John, I loved John Candy. Like loved him. I loved his laugh, his little chuckle that he did. It's still to this day. Yeah.
I cried when he died. In that same
Me too.
studio as Off the Wall Astrology with Barbara Wall, by the way. I was hanging lights when they came in and said, "Oh, John Candy died."
Whoa.
But we were doing it for the news, but it was the same studio. It was a shared studio. But in that same one I was just talking about. Where do you remember where you were? To me, it was like Kennedy being assassinated. I was like, oh, man.
I don't remember. No, it wasn't that moment for me. I remember. Well, no. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I do. I was in a room full of guys who loved SCTV. My buddy Steve Cross. I was at my buddy Steve Cross's apartment, and somebody
It's
came
all
in
coming
and
back
said
to me
John
now.
Candy died. I'm like, what? And yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, it totally was.
John
that
Candy
was a
and
big
Chris
deal.
Farley. I remember where I was for both of them when somebody randomly just told us that they died. I was in it. Where were you for Chris Farley? Do you remember that?
I learned on television news. I saw it on the television news at my parents' house.
I was sitting in the Bombay Company. It was Christmas time, and we were buying a mirror for
Well,
my
aren't you
girlfriend's
classy?
mom. One of those valet mirrors, one of the flips on the thing. It's on the stand. Those big full length mirrors. And somebody in the back, "Oh, Chris Farley died." And I was like, "You need to be serious with me right now because I actually have worked with Chris Farley and I actually kind of know Chris Farley right now. Like, are you kidding or not?" And he was like, "No, man, it's real. He just died. It's on the news." I was like, holy shit.
You know, it's funny
Remember
with
where
John
it was.
Candy. With
Didn't affect
John
him.
Candy, people talked about Belushi,
I
Farley,
did,
and
but
Candy.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, people talked about Belushi, Farley, Candy, and they would put them in the same category. And it's so funny because I don't know if it's because he's, so Canadian or what, but I never made the connection that John Candy was a big partier like those two guys. And he was, apparently. It's legendary. There's stories about lots of stories about John Candy. But he just didn't seem to me to be the same as those two guys.
I think he was his roles, right? Those were his roles would lead you to believe that he was probably, that guy. And I think he probably sort of wanted to be that guy. But I think he definitely, I don't know if he had the struggles that Belushi and Chris Farley had. I know that he definitely had a reputation for partying it up. But I don't know how big of an issue, you know what I mean? Like, did he, he had a heart attack on a horse at the goddamn, on his last movie or something like that. That's how he died. So was that related to doing drugs and stuff? Like, I don't know. I never heard that if it was, but it's totally possible.
Yeah, I don't know that part of it if it was related, if the cardiac event was related to drugs or not. But
okay.
yeah, he was a partier, and
He was also
again,
a bit
that's what
older
people-
than the 33 of John Candy and Belushi. I mean, excuse me.
Yeah.
Of, the other two, Belushi and Farley. Weren't they
I
both
don't know. How
33?
old was he when he died?
46
I think you're right.
is what I want to say, but I'm not sure. Am I wrong about that?
I think
late?
he's younger than that, but
Oh, then maybe you're right. Maybe I'm old. Did I tell you about the
John
Apple Store
Candy
yet?
he was 43 when he died.
Okay.
50 to 94.
What was it?
1950 to 94 was his
1950 to 94. Yeah.
was his run. Yeah.
94.
But he seemed
Junior
older.
year of
Like,
high
that's
school.
one of
All
those
right,
things.
I got it right. My timeline checks.
Well, this has been the Death New Year show.
Well, right before the day before Barbara Walters was that the other woman, the pop fashion icon. Can't think of her name. Nobody?
I didn't even hear that. I don't
Shit.
even know.
All right. Well, never mind then. I'll look it up before I bring it up again. There have been a lot of big ones.
Yeah. What movie superhero was Jeremy Renner in?
He is
Avengers
Hawkeye.
or something.
So he's been in the Avengers. He had a series on Disney Plus as well. So yeah, Hawkeye's an Avenger. He's a Marvel guy.
I heard the Avenger thing. He was with a snowcat accident with the snowcat apparently.
With a snowcat.
Yeah,
I heard
serious one.
he was plowing snow. He was in a snowcat?
I heard he was in an accident with a snowcat.
Wow. Crazy. That's my favorite line from The Shining. Can you both drive? When they're getting the tour in the beginning. And that, of course, is our snowcat. Can you both drive a car? Yes. That's fine. Snowcat,
Do
for
we
anybody who doesn't know,
do we
it's,
talk
it's-
about what we got for Christmas?
What did you get for Christmas?
I got a pair of Jordans. What'd you guys get?
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, we don't really do that. We don't really. It's not that we don't celebrate
you don't
Christmas. It's just that
exchange
every
gifts?
day is sort of Christmas, and we're over it all. You saw what we were dealing with. A new pair of Jordans that I actually liked very much, and I zoomed in on them. Got these new sneakers. I thought, I can get a pair of those. They look like the Back to the Future shoes. And then I saw the little Jordan thing on there, and I go, well, that's probably out. These are probably limited and expensive. So let's see them.
Oh,
See how Back to the Future shoe that looks?
yeah, it does.
Looks like the Kobe one that
They're
I put
pink.
Kobe in. Oh, so that was the other thing. Then you sent me the link, and they were pink. Sent me a pink link.
Yeah. So yeah, they're pink. Not my first pair of pink Jordans either.
I have no issues with the pink. The pink is very in right now. As a matter of fact, I should show you. Let me see if I can find the. Well, no, I won't. But he's going to do the show soon. Our friend who heads up that he works with the Jordan department of Nike is going to do the show soon. But he came to Breakfast Club on
Outstanding.
Friday, and his outfit looked every bit as fashionable as that shoe you just showed.
Yes, it did.
Soft pastel Angora with one thing with a soft pastel, another color, flowy, scarfy, another
Very
thing. Gorgeous.
flowy, soft top sweater stuff.
When I saw him, I just told him he looked beautiful. He did. He looked beautiful. I was like, you look beautiful. This whole thing is just amazing.
Yes, it was.
This was from Lauren. Happy filming. Enjoy using this new camera for your show. With love, Lauren. She drew a little picture of a camera. Sweet.
Lauren on camera
If you
6.
need your case back, Lauren.
Where'd it go?
Vivian. Uh-oh. Hey, guys, says Darren Cox.
Hey.
Vividness Westwood. I wonder if that's about the
Did
Vivian.
they mean Vivian?
Oh, Vivian
Westwood?
Westwood. Yes.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Remind me why we're talking about Vivian Westwood.
Did she die too?
I don't know.
Oh, that's who it was.
Oh,
God
there we
damn it.
go.
He's
Yes.
so good. Yes.
There you go.
But I wouldn't have gotten that from her name. But yes. Man, thank you. I wish he were in the studio here. Westwood. Let's see. Is this who I'm thinking of? Oh, man. Google. Wait, what's the difference? Google now has a place for photos and images. You can click on images or photos.
What?
I know. Over it all. All right, forget it. Vivian Westwood, Los Angeles photos. It's fucking ridiculous.
She died Thursday at 81. There you go.
That's it. Also, speaking of fashion icons, while we were sitting there at the Cafe de la Plage in Malibu, where Bill from Malibu Kitchen rolled up on his bike, also strolling around the premises for quite some time was Betsy Johnson. of Betsy Johnson fame.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Designer. She used to have many stores where they sold shoes, not your style of shoes, but we had a great
No, my
experience in
wife
San
would have
Francisco
approached
once.
her if she was there. That's a big deal to my wife right there. She loves Betsy Johnson.
Oh, she was strolling around for a while.
Yeah.
In a life preserve.
orange
She was in
puffy
a
coat.
she was in a life raft. She was in some sort of a nautical. It looked like a survival suit from The Deadliest Catch, but it was inflatable. Not really, but it certainly looked like it. I mean, it was the dork thinks he's going to drown. You know.
She makes
Gore-Tex.
great heels.
We made the Gore-Tex joke
Yeah.
because the people we were with there were big Seinfeld fans, but it was Back to the Future. It was, hey kid,
Yeah.
what'd you do? Jump ship?
Yeah. He's wearing a life preserver.
But San Francisco, we had a lovely experience that time.
Yes.
We were doing some shopping. I'm not sure it's the same day that on the map you asked where something was, and I was like, oh, it's up here over by Hermes. And to this day, probably the hardest I've ever seen her laugh. In public.
Oh, that was so good. So innocent.
Anyway, we went in there and said, "This is the old days, right?" So we were in San Francisco for work with a comedy thing, and we were just killing time, and we made money, and we were hot stuff back then. You know what I mean? All the bullshit. And so I was like, "Oh, well, let's go in here, and we'll just kill some time, and I'll buy you a pair of shoes." You know what I mean? Whatever. Buy you a pair of shoes. That seemed innocent enough, and they were very nice. It was not very long before they said, like, well, should we get out the champagne? And I was like, yeah, get out the champagne. Are you crazy? Get some champagne. Are you kidding? If you're offering it, of course. This is the old day we used to drink. And they got some champagnes, and we bought you some very cool shoes that you don't have them anymore because you don't do that. But for the time being there, they were really, really cool shoes.
I loved them.
Yeah, Betsy Johnson. They're like
Before my
$600.
wife got sick.
Like-
Yeah, well, it's funny. Before my wife got sick, she used to be into the Manolo Blahniks and the Dolce and Gabbanas and all that kind of stuff too. And
She
she's
had
no longer
racks
into
of
any of that
those
stuff.
things that you're talking
Yeah.
about. Racks of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And then she got Lyme, and everything changed.
Really? It was the Lyme disease? Because it
well,
didn't come back?
I don't think you and I have talked about this on air before. You and I, of course, privately have. We thought she had MS for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it looked like that was happening. And, half of her body was paralyzed. She was hospitalized, the whole 9 yards. And she was walking with a cane forever. And then it turned out to be Lyme disease. But many times that can lead to it if you keep it unchecked. It can lead to MS. And so she went and, she had probably 15 MRIs in that 18-month period. It was crazy. But at that point there, yeah, she got rid of all of her shoes.
So this is something you guys have in common. It was sad for you.
I have to not be sad about anything for too long. But it was hard. There was a lot of expensive, nice shoes.
That were also attached to memories. Like sometimes a celebrity bought you a set of shoes on a trip somewhere, or
Yep.
you had some shoes from like Selma Blair or something.
Yeah, we were in Europe. We bought the same shoes to have the same pair of shoes back here in the States.
Yeah.
So funny. It's tough. It's weird peeling back the layers.
Oh yeah. It's a type of mourning because it's sort of a part of yourself that you're now saying, okay, this part of myself, which you still kind of identify with, is now in the past. And there's kind of a mourning for that sometimes.
Yeah, and it's weird to think that that outfit has to be amended. You can't wear shoes that you thought you had anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, your situation? Dear Lord.
That's exactly how Candy thinks.
I'm amazed that you still put the type of clothes on that you do. You know what I mean? Like, you still look adorable and everything. It's amazing the effort that you, and people don't know this either, like how fucking much work it takes you to do it all. But, you know what I mean? A lot of people would just, sweats because they're comfortable. You know, I can get them on and off easy. And you go through a tremendous amount of effort to make yourself look how you look. I don't know if people realize that.
Probably not, but I have so little anything left anymore. It's like I do what I can.
Yeah. That's what Kayla Marza said to do anyway, our friend who's a physical therapist. He was like, he talks about, obviously there are certain exercises that are good for you and certain ones that are not as good for you. But when it comes down to it, whatever you can do is what you should be doing. And he mentioned like people in a wheelchair who just kind of like rock themselves back and forth. And some people say, don't do that. Stop doing that. It's bad for your thing. His point is, if that's what you can do, do it. Just keep moving whatever you can, wherever you can, as often as you can. And I feel like you do that every day. That's one thing you can't be stopped.
I have to make myself think about stuff to make that work. So clothing is the thing I can do physically to put something on.
It's interesting. It's a physical. It's almost like a reminder. Like if I'm doing this, it helps you do this.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great that you figured out a way.
It's great to do what I can. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't mean that it solved any problems. I didn't mean to make it sound that way. Nothing works.
Nothing
Everything's
works,
broken.
but if I stop doing everything, it'll all go away. So I don't want to do that.
Is that the? Do you think? Do you know that to be true, or is that a fear, or is that just logic?
It's what I've read what's said about MS. Use it or lose it.
Right. Yeah.
So do what you can is great advice for people with MS is confused for a lot. I get that. But it's the same construct of like keep circulation going. It's just old people. Stay hydrated, keep moving. You can always figure out what's wrong.
I don't know how this works, but this was an old scratcher from way back when. It's been in the desk here. We're just trying to clean stuff up and get things taken care of. I have scratched it off, but I think I'm going to have to scan it to see if it's a winner because I'm not good at telling if it is or not.
No, you're the guy that goes to the Apple store with nothing wrong with your phone.
It's broke. Fix it. It was such a specific, minute problem too, but it was it was a problem all the time. Most people use this for so much more than just a camera, you know?
Right.
Video. The good
I
news
used
is
to be
we could have went
confident
up to $1
throwing away
million.
my scratch tickets.
Sorry, I missed all of that. What?
I used to be confident throwing away my scratch tickets. Now, got to get them scanned just in case.
Well, they're more complicated than they used to be, I think. I feel like it used to be like poker or something. Like, oh, cool, I got a full house. That's $5. Nice. This seems like it's probably just as easy. Do we just have to match one? It seems crazy. All right, well, let's do this. 43. Do we have any 43s? No 43s. All right,
Come on, 43.
33.
Come on, 33.
No 33s. All right, 27. Do we have any 27s?
Come on,
Bingo.
27.
Feels like bingo, doesn't it? No 27s. Okay, how about 8? Do we have an 8? Show me 8.
Come on, 8.
No 8s. How about a 13? Show
13,
me
lucky 13.
13. Nope, 31. That's close. Nope, no 13. 12, I guess that's closer than 31, but I'm dyslexic. So, and our final chance to win, 16.
Go 16.
No 16. So all we've done here tonight is make a mess. But thank you very much for playing at home. I feel like I'll clean that up with a vacuum. That's going to get everywhere. Ooh-wee. Canada Mike, I love you, buddy. I have missed you. I've been dying to catch up with you off the air. Life.
Yep. Me too.
in every possible side. The walls, you know how that is, and everything seems to take
Yep.
longer than it used to. Here we go. Let's see. Life Vest. Yes, that was Betsy Johnson in the Life Vest for sure. And colorful stuff from Betsy. Yeah, very much so. And she was
Yeah.
very colorful as well. You're right. She was very like, this is how I am. Fuck you if you don't like it. I kind of like that. Is there anything else? 2023 is going to be grand. We didn't talk about what we're going to do, but let's do that Thursday. We've got great guests coming up, but not this week because we wanted to kind of just whatever, not this week. But we got great guests coming up. Rainn Wilson's going to be here. I don't know if I have any of these written down, but there's a lot of other people who are going to be here too. We've talked about some of them. Shit, this is the worst. The truth is, I was writing the blue card and I didn't get to the very bottom here where it says who's going to be on the show. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for hanging.
Yeah, thank you for hanging. Thanks for being here for real. The truth is, we are going to do the truth. I've been lying to you for the last 96 minutes, but now the truth comes out. We are going to do a telethon because we came up with the idea and we love the idea. The problem with that and me, anytime those two things happen, I make everything bigger than it needs to be. So once the idea came out, like, oh, well, we should do a telethon, I was like, and then we could do this, and then we could do this, and then we could do this, and we get so-and-so involved, and then we can do this. And it's like, I should have just done it without even talking about it. We should have just popped the fuck on and not cared, and whoever comes over, comes over. Because now it's like, I don't know what to do. We could actually produce a whole thing and make it a big thing, and every hour on the hour for 24 hours or 36 hours or whatever, we've got, something and somebody. And that's where my head went. And I was like, wait a second, we could do a whole real thing here. But the truth is, the three of us are not hard on killing time. We're all very good at that. So simply going live and letting people know, come over if you have the address. And if you know how to juggle, bring your balls. You heard me. Anyway, it's a work in progress. But it's probably going to be somewhere in the middle. Anyway, is what it is. We love everybody. Also, the prints, which are not in here right now. Fuck. I moved that because I didn't want it to get damaged during all of my work, and of course I didn't bring it back. But the Happy Meal prints, the ketchup and the mustard with the white 911, those will be, there's going to be more on that soon. God damn it! I wish I could hold it up and show you. There will be prints of that soon. The thought process is to make 111 prints. We're still working out the price because in my mind I was like, well, why don't there's $111, whatever. That sounds and seems great, except that prints all of a sudden are not. You have to buy them. They're not cheap, and it doesn't work out. So they might be more than that, or there may be more of them. We haven't figured it out. Also, here is where I need your help, everybody. This is it's a poll. Maybe we'll do a poll. What should the size be for these? Now, I don't want you to shout out sizes, but here are the options. Do you want a wallet size? No, I'm just kidding. Well, Grandma, the actual piece is 40 by 50. It's large.
That's big.
The question is, do we make the prints full scale to sort of, replicating this, if you wanted to hang this piece in your house kind of thing, which to me is kind of cool. It's like, oh, well, that's the closest thing to the original. But it is quite large, which may be too large for some people. So then all of a sudden, maybe it's like a standard poster size that's very easy to frame, like 36 by 48 is not, that's 24 by 36 is probably more common. I don't know. 30 by 40 is a common poster size. I'm asking you guys because I would like to know what you would want for your space, and also what, how you're going to use it, where you think it might go, because that may decide the size. Let us know, because these things are awesome. People keep sending me messages. A couple people have been relentless about really wanting these. I mean, 1,000 people have already been asking. No, but some people really, 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 really want them. So they will be available soon.
I see why. They're cool as shit. I love that picture.
I really appreciate you saying that. I think it's cool too, and I don't think it's cool just because it's for us and our thing. Like, I think the thing is
No.
cool. I would think it was
It's
cool if
super
somebody
cool.
else was doing it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Does that come across though? Because
It's a head turner.
okay, good. I don't want this to be so self-serving. I've gotten
No,
that comment in
it's
the past. Too.
very
Like, it
on
seems a little
brand.
self-serving. It's like, well, that's literally the opposite of our intent. So if it does seem that way, then we are doing something wrong.
No, I think that this is more on brand than a Rembrandt would be, but
What, you got a
that's how
Rembrandt for
it's supposed
sale?
to be.
I'll auction it for you. I'll do prints. Anyway, we've gone long. I love you, pal. I love you.
Love
You're
you guys
doing
very,
a
very
great.
much.
Thank you, buddy. I'm sorry. You're doing a great job hanging in there. I love your Newcomb shirt. I almost wore that today. I'm glad I didn't. Rough.
Thanks.
Hang in there.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job here today. Anyway, great job.
Thanks.
No. You can't tell the difference, or you don't care.
I can't tell the difference. And I don't give myself the luxury of thinking about what's working and not, because it might not tomorrow, and that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I agree. It's just that you used to sometimes read into like, well, he's pissed off at me now, and the blah, blah, or some other thing, and you don't seem to have any of that. Which
I
is
don't.
good.
Let myself go any direction like that anymore.
Okay. Well, then that's you working on you. Good job.
I have to. There's no time for anything else.
I'm gonna go get a haircut and a beard cut, and this is crazy. It's crazy. Look,
Are you gonna sculpt the beard? Like, are you gonna turn it into
I'm gonna.
something? You're getting it off? Okay. All right.
If we did it live on the show, maybe get all this off, and then just
Yeah.
Just finish the bike. Just get the bike done. Do the Paul Senior. Just finish the bike. I'm sorry. It's really. I feel like it's. I feel so fat with this full beard. It's weird because I've actually lost weight since the holiday, but I can't wait to get this off. It's killing me. Killing me. I'm walking around like this all the time because I don't want to feel it.
That's perfect.
You probably have the same shit. Different problems.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Let's see. I love rain. Right on. I'm sorry, I can't tell you anybody else who's coming. I can't remember. A lot of people were we were figuring out dates, and I think now it's all just sort of coming together. Love you, kids. Hang in there. All right, love everybody. Longest goodbye ever with it. Slow hellos and slow goodbyes. That's it. We're done. We closed it all up already, right? We're done. CBS mailbag's shut. We're good. We can all leave. We can all hope. All right. Love you, everybody. See you out there.
Peace and love.
Happy New Year. All these buttons are in different places.